Good evening, New York. Tonight we join Max in his haven at the Ritz-Carlton. He is receiving a special guest tonight, a elder Ventrue by the name of Mr. Brooks. And while Max was informed of the meeting, he was not expecting one so soon. Max has went out and procured some nice wine, cleaned off the office table for the arrival of his guest.
Mr. Brooks will obviously arrive in a limousine like always, probably in front of the Ritz. It wouldn't be spotted by Max personally, but he arrives in normal conditions like always. He makes his way into the Ritz and soon finds out where you stay and calls up ahead to make sure you know that he's coming up. Just to make sure that there's no misunderstanding that he's coming. And as he's going upwards, he is quickly standing in front of one of your doors. I'm not sure if you have the entire level of the Ritz.
No, it's one of their suites.
Figures much. Well, then he'll be at the front door. He won't be alone. He'll be having a ghoul with him.
Max's retainer, Marcus, will quickly open the door. Mr. Brooks has been here before, so he knows where the office is.
Yeah, the ghoul, however, knows what to do. He'll just step to the side, so to speak. He'll walk his way all the way to the office, but he'll stand outside the office. He will not step in, obviously. The ghoul is dressed in a uniform of a driver or a valet or something that's looked like a taxi driver at the moment, or a limo driver, which is probably the case. You don't know. And then Mrs. Brooks will simply knock on the door.
The door is open, of course, and Max will rise. Mr. Brooks, pleasure to see you this evening.
Mr. Brooks will almost glide into the room with slow steps. He's on a mission, but he still smiles. A very excruciating smile, even now. And he bows. He says, "My primogen."
Mr. Brooks, please have a seat.
Mr. Brooks does take a seat. And then crosses his legs and puts his hand on his legs and says, "Well, this was sooner than expected."
Indeed, I was curious as to the social call. How can I assist you tonight? Would you care for a drink?
Well, why not combine, indeed, pleasantries with business? Yes, I'll have a drink.
Max pours Mr. Brooks a glass of wine. Certainly not a millionaire's wine, but definitely something worth savoring for time to time.
Mr. Brooks will focus on the fact that he's going to drink wine or to not regurgitate everything the moment he drinks it. And then he'll take the glass, and you can make me a perception awareness. It's going to be right difficult to do it. But nope, you won't pick that up. Very high difficulty.
Not happening.
Nope. So as he picks it up with his hand, he's bringing it up to his nose, and he sniffs the wine very strongly. Then he swirls it around in his glass, as you have seen him do before. Then he takes a sip. And he almost you can see his body either relax or feel reinvigorated. And he'll say, "No, I expected not to be here so soon, but I've noticed that you have forgotten me. Have you forgotten me?
I have forgotten.
Let me explain. Makes it more easy. During our last board meeting, we decided that we should make our presence as Venture known within the city, making sure we touch as much aspects of the city as we could. At that moment, we were all four convinced that there should be an influence coterie, and there should be one who joins the actual war coterie. The one who we at that moment believed to join the war coterie was Mr. Budge. One, because he's not one of us. Two, because he's the one who actually wants to be actively fighting something the three of us so less desire. Yet, when I saw the request, no, I saw the announcement of the prince saying there were three people in a very strong influence coterie: Mr. Budge, Mr. Braddock, and yourself. Alongside, I know that Mr. Braddock was working on getting Mr. Castellanos inside their coterie. I'm sure that worked out. Mr. Braddock's vigilant. However, either you forgot me, my Primogen, or forgot the arrangement we made in a board meeting, or I am terribly remiss. I'm almost sure I'm not.
No, Mr. Brooks, your memory serves you quite well. On the other hand, Mr. Budge made it very clear and left no ambiguity as to his desires. Mr. Budge made it very clear that he was going to be in an influence coterie, and considering Mr. Budge is a harpy, along with Mr. Castellanos, I felt it was more advantageous to have him with us than, say, in that dismal moron of a sheriff's coterie. Well, I do understand your concern, and you are right to bring it up, of course. I did have reservations in doing so, but
so already my friend makes decisions forgetting an Ancilla's name instead of a neonate. Is that what I'm hearing? Am I hearing that you have buckled under the weight of Mr. Budge, his wanting to be in an influence coterie? See why I am surprised. See why I am disappointed.
If Mr. Brooks would let me finish. At this, Max kind of leans forward in his chair. There are times you have to make a decision on the fly. When the bullets or the claws are flying, you don't have time to go back and consort with your board or your staff. Sometimes you have to take the reins and make a decision. Mr. Brooks, I made a decision on the fly to include Mr. Budge, a harpy in good standing in this city, into our coterie. If Mr. Brooks does not like that decision, I can understand having reservations against going against the board. I did not make this decision lightly. It has weighed on me since, but it is a decision I made.
Mr. Brooks smiles. He knows your domain.
Actually, as soon as he does that, I would like, or as soon as I get done with my little speech there, I want to drop an intimidate roll on him. No powers, just intimidate. I just want to get my message across.
Uh-oh. Let's look something up then.
Yep.
What do you roll your intimidate against? My courage, huh?
I don't think it's just courage. I think it's something like perception. It'd either be perception and probably subterfuge. Even though I'm not really lying, the point is, don't fuck with me, man.
No. There's actually a charisma intimidation roll. I just want to know how to counter it.
Oh.
Because if you're rolling against my difficulty of willpower, then you're up for a challenge.
That would be like dominate and stuff, though, and I don't think
Yes,
he's not
I know that's dominate.
He doesn't want to drop dominate because that's kind of verboten, but
yeah, I'm not sure if that would work.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you roll your bones. Roll your dice. Let's see what happens.
All right, I am going to be dropping willpower on this. I don't really have a place for willpower on the die roller, so.
No, it's just automatically one extra success.
Yep. You said charisma or manipulation?
You're trying to get a message across.
Yeah.
I guess that's charisma.
Okay. All right, so 6 plus the willpower. And survey says, wow.
That's a failure.
That dice roll is bunk. Dice roller is some bullshit. Wow.
He does not like you.
Apparently not. Fucking Java. But at least it's got the 1 from the willpower.
Yep.
Yay.
One success. I'll try to counter it, and then act upon the next action.
Yep.
I could still fuck it up. I guess that's subterfuge and probably perception. I could still fail this horribly. Obviously, it's not many dice. However, I have one success. Defender wins.
That's true. 0 net.
So
Max
at
is-
that moment, as you lean forward and get your message across, Mr. Brooks will stare at you, and then simply rise up. Choices made, things gained. We'll speak again. And he will walk out that door. He will turn his back on you at that moment, and he will walk out that door. He will go down, and he will leave your room, your suite, and obviously the hotel. And unless you want something to do,